So behind me is the property that my family has farmed since 1939, and during all those years, we have accumulated a lot of debt. Now how much debt? Well, that's why I'm making this video. Now I want to be very clear on two things. Please do not feel sorry for us, because we got ourselves into this. We knew what we were doing when we did it. And on the other side of that, this video is not intended to brag. I am simply just wanting to educate you guys and be fully transparent to show you guys what we actually go through. And I say all this as humbly as possible because in all honesty, I have done this much for the farm. My dad, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, they're the ones who started all this, and all my family, friends, and everyone who's helped us over the years. That's why everything we do is possible today. So I honestly can't take credit for any of this. So like I said, I'm not talking about this to brag. I'm just trying to be transparent and kind of show you from how we look at stuff. So with that being said, we are now going to go to all of our pieces of equipment. We're going to talk about what we paid for it, what we still owe on it, and then we're going to do the same thing with all of our fields. So I guess we might as well start with the 1988 Freightliner with this hopper bottom trailer. We purchased this combo for $10,000 about 15 years ago, and we do not owe anything on this. On the other side of the Freightliner, we have the old International. I'm honestly not sure of the year, but we picked it up for 1,500 bucks at an auction, and we do not owe anything on it. And then when it comes to my house in my 12-acre yard, my grandpa paid $399 an acre, and I'm honestly not sure what he paid for the house, but I know we don't owe anything on it. Dave Ramsey would be proud. And then beside Old Red, we have our 35-foot reel disc. We picked this up for $10,000 at an auction, and we do not owe anything on it. Ford. We'll talk about him in a little bit. So this building behind me is 32 feet wide, 80 feet long. We built it in 2005 and we paid cash for it. And if I knew how much we paid for it, I'd tell you. So in here we have the 2005 Bobcat T190. We paid $17,500 for this 10 years ago. This is paid off, and in front of it, we have the backhoe. We purchased this about 25 years ago. I'm honestly not sure what we paid for it, but I know it's paid off. Then in front of the backhoe, man, we just have our whole grave digging entourage right here. We have the groundhog. Surprisingly enough, we picked this thing up for $2,500 at an auction. Brand new, they're $100,000. I'd say we got a pretty good deal. Oh yes, we do not owe anything on this. So if you guys have been watching for a little while now, you'll know I am not a supporter of consumer debt. So any motorcycles, toys, whatever kind of stuff, I pay for that stuff in cash. I just don't like having debt out on those things. The only thing I take debt out on is equipment if I absolutely have to, and real estate. Okay, let's carry on. This is the 2005 Hagie STS-10 sprayer. We purchased this machine 10 years ago for $135,000. This is paid off. And then last but not least, we have the 2014 Case 9230 Combine. We paid $225,000 for this machine, and we still owe $95,000. Got any Dave Ramsey advice for us, Sable?
No.
You know who Dave Ramsey is?
Yeah, I have a bucket home.
Oh, well, you're well on your way. So this brings us over to the big machine shed. This building is 60 feet wide and 171 feet long. Dad and Grandpa put this building up in 1986 for around $100,000, and it's paid off. So as we come to the big machine shed here, we paid $3,500 for the white Volvo. That is hooked up to our cemetery flatbed trailer. We paid $2,500 for this. On my left here, we have our sprayer trailer. We paid $7,500 for the pair of tanks. The semi-trailer was $3,000. Then the Mixmate, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Then on to the 1991 Case 7140. We paid $29,500 for this. That's hooked up to a Brent 674 grain cart. We paid $13,000 for that unit. And we actually have two Brent 674 carts. We paid $14,000 for this one, and that is pulled by our John Deere 4840. We paid $36,000 for this machine. And then sitting in the corner, we have the 1967 Oliver 1950T. I'm honestly not sure what we paid for this, but I do know it was the first tractor my grandpa bought brand new. And sitting right beside that is our white Volvo. We paid $3,500, I believe, for this semi. And then up next, we have the Massey 4880. This is a 325 horsepower tractor. We paid $48,000 for this tractor brand new during the 80s. They were actually for sale for $150,000, but a dealer came to us and said, hey, we need exposure in this area. And they sold it to us for a steal of 48 grand. Then tucked in front of that, we have a cultivator. This is new to us this year. We paid $9,750 for that. And then hiding in the corner, we have the 15-row Coulter nitrogen bar for a Hagie sprayer. We paid $32,000 for that in 2010. By the way, that is for sale, so if someone's interested, my email is at the bottom of the video description. So just shoot me an offer. And then last but not least, we have our other skid loader, our Case 1840. I'm not sure what year this is, but we paid $6,500 for it. And everything in this building, including the building, is paid off. And by the way, guys, this video is extremely personal because these are our real financial numbers for what we face here on the farm. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you enjoyed the transparency, if you could give the video a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. So now on the other side of the big machine shed here, we have the bin site. As we can see, all of these bins are pretty much totaled out. I don't know exact dollars we paid for this stuff back in the day, but it's all totaled now. But if my memory serves me correctly, that bin plus the leg and the hopper bottom were $200,000 and we still owe 60 grand on them. Holy cow, that just seems like it's gonna get ripped off any second. Hopefully nothing hits me. We paid $12,500 for this grain vac and it was worth every penny because it beats shoveling out a bin any day. And yes, this is paid off. Then right here we have our most recent purchase. This is our 45-foot Draper bean head sitting on a 48-foot trailer. For the trailer and the bean head, we paid $54,500. And this is paid off. You're probably wondering about this building. I really don't have a financial figure for this, but I can tell you it's paid off. So I guess while we're back here, we're gonna talk about augers. Big breath. $200, $60, $1,700, $300, $1,100, $100. That's a good question. I don't know. $100? Good question. And I have no idea on this wagon. And yes, those augers are paid off. Then over here we have our portable grain dryer. We paid $5 grand for this. Then we have two semi-trailers. We paid $10,000 for the one on the right, and then we paid $2,500 for the one on the left. All of these things are paid off. Then we have these tanks over here, and we actually got these for free. This is the new trailer that Cooper bought. He paid $6,700 for this. It is paid off. And then our enclosed trailer here, we paid $2,800 for this a couple years ago on auction, and it's paid off. Then this auger right here, we made from a bunch of scrap parts. This is actually one of the first videos I made on the channel. It's $600. And right here off of the house in the garage, we have a second groundhog. We paid $2,500 for that. Then we have our F600 dump truck that we paid $1,500 for. Then we have our Unverferth seed tender, and I will talk a little bit more about this later. And then last but not least, here on this main farm, we have this old Oliver 1950. I don't know what we paid for it. I don't know how long we've had it, but I do know that we don't owe any money on it. I should also mention, we don't owe any money on anything in this building. Okay, so that's everything here on the main farm. Let's hop in forward here and go check out some farms, and we also have a few other building sites to go to. So guys, first off here, we have Tabletop. This is a 97-acre farm that we paid $6,000 an acre for. Whoa, 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 whoa! What is this, a cattle lot? Hey, if you're gonna poop, poop in the field. All right, guys, come on, go home. Just want you guys to know I'm gonna enjoy a nice ribeye later. Just because they have that little thing on their ear, they think us to get away and do whatever they want with it badge. Should probably call the neighbor and tell him his cows are out. Sorry about that, guys. We were rudely interrupted by the cows, but here we have my mom's first farm, my grandpa's first farm, and my dad's first farm. They're all one big field now. Grandpa paid $399 an acre for his. Dad paid $1,450 an acre for his. And I'm honestly not sure what Mom paid for hers, but I know it was less than $2,000 an acre. And these three fields added together come up to 208 acres. Down the road a couple miles, we have our next field. This is a 160-acre farm. We call it Kristen and Rusty's. This is actually the most recent farm we purchased, and it was $10,800 an acre. And this is the place where we keep our 16-row planter. Not entirely certain of the year on this, but I know we paid $25,000 for it. And it is paid off. And next on the list here, we have our biggest underdog farm. This is the field that we call Bill's. So this is the field we call the north side of Bill's, and that's the south side of Bill's. We paid $3,250 an acre for these two farms. This side's 160 acres, and that side's 48 acres. And then down here at the main heated shop, we have our remaining 400 acres that we own, essentially across the road, and then everything we can see in our immediate vicinity is ours. And when it comes to all these farms, I'm honestly not sure of them, because my grandpa bought them back in the 80s, and I wasn't alive back then, but I'd say somewhere around $1,500 to $3,000 an acre. Oh, hi, Dad.
Hi, bud.
Hi, Anna. You want to answer some debt questions, Anna?
She was sleeping up a storm, so she's coming down the shop.
I guess the million-dollar question is, how much money do we still owe on our farms? And this is where I'm going to draw the line and pull the personal card, because our farm is a business, and I don't want to put ourselves at a disadvantage compared to competitors by putting this out there for everybody. But I will say this. Our average county rent is $250 an acre, and when we buy ground, we essentially rent that to ourselves. So if it comes in at the county average or less, which is in this case is $250 an acre, then we continue to buy ground. And right now we come in at the $250 an acre or less. So we'll just leave it at that. Okay, you guys twisted my arm. I'll put it in broad generalization for you. It's somewhere between $1 to $3 million in mortgages. Now don't get me wrong, $1 million to $3 million in mortgages is a lot of money to owe, and that might seem really scary, but let me put a little bit of light on the subject here. So if we're renting a farm for $250 an acre, that money goes to our landlord every year and it's gone. I mean, we get returns off that farm, but that $250 an acre is gone. But let's say we can buy a farm where the payment comes out to $250 an acre. Now, eventually, we will get that farm paid off when we keep paying that down, $250 an acre every year. And then all of a sudden, we own it. And then we don't have to pay rent to anybody. So in the long run, owning ground makes us money. But in the short run, technically speaking, renting is more affordable. But that's how we kind of justify our $1 to $3 million in mortgages. And that same principle is what we're going to be using to put up the $1 million bin site. So right now, we've been taking our grain, we've been bringing it to the co-op, and they charge us a fee to keep it there. And we're like, hey, why pay the co-op to do that when we could just pivot that money to our own bin site? That same money could go towards paying our own asset, and then eventually this is going to be paid off, and then we're not going to have to pay the co-op, we're not going to have to make a bin payment, that money just comes right back to us. And speaking of the $1 million bin site, we haven't incurred that debt yet, but we're going to be borrowing $500,000 on it, and then the other $500,000 is going to be coming out of pocket. So I guess back to the cost of everything. We're down here at Mama Cornstar and Daddy Cornstar's house. This is the home of the main heated shop. Grandpa actually bought this house when Dad was still in high school, so this place has been paid off for a long time. Then we put this building up in 2011. We did a lot of the work ourselves, and our neighbor Justin, he helped us do all the technical things. This building is 50 feet wide, 100 feet long. We have 18-foot ceilings inside. It's got a heated floor, it's spray foam insulated. And we were able to put this up for $175,000, and this is paid off. And then in here, we have our Thunder Creek fuel trailer. Beside that, we have our 1985 Club Wagon 4-speed Ford minivan. Oh, thing's a beaut. We got that for free, and that, let's talk about that in a little bit. We can't forget about our most important piece of equipment here, guys, the Geo. I really like this car because, one, it's a Geo and it's cool, and number two is I paid $300 for this car and it gets 30 miles to the gallon. It's just awesome. And yes, I paid for this in cash. Now we're in the corner here. After months of having a broken axle, we finally got her fixed. We have the 2745. How long's that been paid off for?
Oh geez, from the day we brought it home. I think we gave $3,500. And it had a Westendorf loader on it. We sold that off right away for more than we paid for the whole unit. And that's why it was paid off from day one.
Then right next to the 2745, we have our set of Y drops for the hay sprayer. We haven't used these yet, but we paid $17,500 for them. And they're paid off. And I guess the last item we have in here is the white 8824, our 24-row planter, and then our Magnum 340. So this tractor is a 2013, and we just bought it. This was actually our first full year running it. We paid $157,000 for this, and this last December, we actually wrote the check to pay this off. Now, when it comes to the planter, this is a 2008 model. We paid $65,000 for this, and this is financed right now, and we still about 50 grand on it. And then to add on top of that, we have AgLeader's hydraulic downforce. We have Yetter air adjust row cleaners on the front. And then we have AgLeader electric drives. And then Yetter twister closing wheels. And then right here we have Inna. That stuff's a little over $100,000 added together, but let's talk about that. So as you guys know, the YouTube channel is one of our forms of off-farm income, and it also comes in more than just money. It comes in the form of equipment. So when it comes to the channel, on a good month, we'll have anywhere from 6 to 8 million people watch, and a lot of you guys are farmers or in the ag community, so that becomes a pretty valuable advertisement point for companies. So on all the things I've just mentioned that I said I'd be talking about, those are companies that have worked with us, and they either have demos that they're letting us use in exchange for advertisement space, or they've given us something in exchange for advertisement space. So when it comes to all the AgLeader stuff, our Yetter stuff, our Mixmate, our fuel trailer, our Unverferth grain cart, these are all examples of companies that we work with in exchange for deals. If that upsets anybody watching, I guess I really don't know what to say. For the past 3 years, I've worked over 100 hours a week, just continually learning, growing, trying new things with this YouTube channel. I started on my iPhone for the first 6 months. This is what I used, and I mean, YouTube's free, so if this is something you want to do for your farm, or for whatever you're doing, it's totally available. The only barrier to entry is, well, you. And yes, that does include Sid Dillon in Blair, Nebraska on our deal with Ford. No, I did not get Ford completely free. This is a lease truck. I do pay monthly, but it's a cheap-end lease, so it's very affordable. I will say that way. I don't want to give out all the privacy details between us. And I guess I could probably mention that Sid Dillon is still offering deals for you guys. If you mention my name when you go into Sid Dillon, Blair, Nebraska, you'll get $500 off your vehicle. So I guess it's worth a mention. Links in the description. Okay, Dad, so we've gone over what everything cost, what we still owe on stuff, and kind of our general overview on debt. So what's our goal with what we're trying to do with everything here?
Our main goal, for me, I think it's the same with you, is trying to get our debt, stuff that we owe, try to get it ate up so we're not paying the interest. The interest is my biggest whammy. When you see at the end of the year how much interest we pay on stuff, it kind of scares you.
Very scary.
So
it'd be nice to be debt free, in other words. So that's kind of what we're going for, and that's why we're putting in so much work on all this stuff. We work together as a big team here, so we want to be able to help everybody out. And I guess if we're debt free, that'd take a lot of stress off everybody, and we'd be able to help a lot of people, you know, community, neighbors, whoever, you know, it would help a lot.
And you know, it's a goal we're working towards, and it takes a long time. And it's okay to have debt too, because sometimes the way it works in our operations, you got to look at what the average is for the year. You know, some of this equipment we got to do. So, you know, I don't want to say debt is a bad thing either.
Yeah, because like, in the case of your first farm, you bought that for $1,450 an acre, and now you could probably sell that for over $10,000 an acre. So, right. I mean, I'd say you had a pretty good investment, even though you took out debt on that.
Right, right. You're exactly right.
Now, I know a lot of people are going to be asking about Cooper's truck here, and this was his personal project. He used all his money to get it restored, so I'm just going to leave it at that. If he wants to talk about it, he can, but yeah, it's Cooper's thing. So now that we've covered everything, and we've basically been transparent as we can possibly be, where do we stack up debt-wise compared to the average farm? Since I don't know what my neighbors have for debt, and I'm not going to go ask them, because I don't want to get chased off their property, I went to a few different lenders and bankers, and I asked what their loan limits were, and depending on where you go, it can be anywhere from $2,500 to $6,000 an acre, and that would be on ground that a farmer owns. So in the case of us, if we owned 1,000 acres, we'd be able to borrow anywhere from $2.5 million to $6 million. And this is just a blanket statement, but I would say, in general, farmers are wanting to expand their farm as much as they can, so they're probably going to be up towards their lending limit. So if someone owns 100 acres, run those numbers through. If someone owns 10,000 acres, you can run those numbers through and probably get a fairly rough idea. Now also keep in mind, I'm running numbers for our area. Here in central Iowa, ground has been running from $10,000 to $14,000 an acre. So if we're out in Montana, where ground might be selling for $300 an acre, we're gonna use different numbers. And also everybody has a different business structure. Some farmers are debt free, so they don't have any of this. And some farmers may be over leveraged, so these are just generalizations. And this video is a little bit different than the typical day-to-day vlog activities we do on the farm. So if you guys enjoyed this, please let me know. And don't forget, we have Cornstar Farms merch available through the link in the description. And if anyone wanted to get Pit Viper sunglasses, you can get 15% off also through the link in the description. But I really appreciate you guys, and I'm really thankful that you guys take the time to sit down and watch us. We really appreciate it, and we just want to say thank you. But with that being said, this is the worst part of the video, the end. We'll see you in the next one, guys.